Today I was thinking, what could we talk about? And I kind of thought, what's our bloodline? What keeps us afloat? What keeps us, moving forward? What keeps us in business?
Sales.
Sales.
Welcome back to another episode of the Monarch Social podcast, where we discuss all things digital media marketing.
In hopes to give you, the viewers at home, some valuable insight into this wonderful digital world that we live in.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome to the show.
Should I take your part and we flip this around today?
Let's try it.
So, Morgan, tell me, how was your week?
My week was good. We started off Memorial Day.
Yes, Memorial Day was this last week.
Went to my father's house and had a nice barbecue.
Ooh, the
really
classic Memorial move.
Yeah, classic. Bunch of old people. I was super young.
What'd you guys throw in the BBQ?
Burgers and brats.
Oh, brats.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I haven't had brats in so long.
No, it was actually fire, man. And then I took leftovers home.
That's the best part.
So
sick, dude.
But then after that, you were still on vacation. So for your Memorial Day, I came here for Tuesday with everyone. We had one guy out of the office this week on vacation, and we just jumped right back into things on Tuesday. It was nice and smooth sailing.
Into the thick of it.
Then me and you were here on Wednesday, hung out. We have people that work from home on Wednesdays, and so me and Koa were just hanging out at the office on Wednesday. And then that brought us to yesterday, where everyone was back in the office.
Yeah.
And now we're doing the podcast on Friday. So it's been a pretty chill week.
Full steam ahead, man.
Yeah, full steam ahead. What about you? How was your week?
My week was great, dude. Memorial weekend was awesome. I feel like Memorial really started on Friday and Saturday. That's kind of when I did all my family stuff.
Yeah.
Then I went to California for 2 days. Kind of got stuck out there. And then came back, and it was like boom, boom, boom. We're right back into the thick
Just
of it.
right back in it. You don't miss a beat.
Literally. It's nice, dude. I like how we have everything just ready to go, and it's just plug and play. Even if you go into the day not knowing what you're gonna do, it's like, okay, get there, and all of a sudden now the motions just start working.
Everything is really processed, so it makes our job and our lives a lot easier right now.
Yes. Figure out your processes.
It'll help you.
All right, Morgan, what are we talking about?
I thought you were taking my role.
Oh, you want me to take the whole thing? Okay.
Oh, yeah, you got this.
So,
you
Morgan,
lead.
today I was thinking, what could we talk about? And I kind of thought, what's our bloodline? What keeps us afloat? What keeps us, moving forward? What keeps us in business?
Sales.
And so I thought maybe we give a little insight, because I hear a lot of people trying to do their own agency thing, or any sort of business for that matter. And a lot of the times where they fail and fall apart is when they stop getting sales.
Yeah. We've got this kind of question come up a few times. We talk about owning an agency, digital marketing, helping people at home understanding and navigating the digital marketing world. But now there's this other type of listener out there, Koa, that has an agency, but they're like, okay, well, how do you guys get clients? How are you guys bringing them on? So we're going to dedicate this episode to sales.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Sales.
I wish we had a cue to play some money music or something like that.
Applause. Yeah. The crowd goes wild. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of different ways to start. And so I'll just start talking.
Run it.
I was our sales guy, from day one.
Yeah.
When we divided the work, we said, you're going to do fulfillment. I'm going to do the sales.
Yes.
I'll get us all the clients. I'll sell the shit out of everything we need to. But then you got to fulfill it. So since day one, I've done sales. Now, a little background on me. I've always done sales. I've done a lot of different jobs in sales. Owning a different company, I was over sales. I ran a sales department. Before that, I've done solar sales. I've sold solar.
Everybody does door-to-door.
Door-to-door solar. I don't know. I've just had a lot of sales jobs, and so I really love sales. I really appreciate sales, and so maybe we can dig into the mind vault of Morgan and how he sells, because quite frankly,
I feel like you have a very unique way of selling too.
we've built this company on a lot of Morgan's principles of selling, right? Mm-hmm. And so maybe we'll just take it down to like the core roots, and then we'll build up from there of how things have changed and kind of my perspective on things. Now, I don't really want to get into like sales tactics or anything like that.
Keep the secret sauce.
It's not even that. There's just so many of them. Like, there's so many tactics out there for sales that I don't feel like I need to be the one to say, well, this is what I do. And, like, I have my own way of doing things. But it all started with confidence, I feel. And what I mean by that is, I'm a younger guy, comparatively to like big business here in Utah. I'm a younger, heavily tattooed guy, right?
For sure.
And so going into some meetings can be intimidating, especially, we live in Salt Lake. There's a predominant religion here.
Intimidating for you or intimidating for
just the average person going to make a sell? You get older companies that are conservative, have very different views as you or me, and so it all kind of started with like confidence, just being like, even if I don't have confidence in Morgan, the thing I had to know, and this is what I tell all my sales guys and sales people, you have to believe in your product or your service, right? Like, if you don't believe in your product, if you don't believe in those things, you will never make it in sales. You'll never make it in sales.
Well, I mean, I feel like sometimes you can make it
only for so long.
If it's like exactly.
For so long.
You can do it for X amount of time, but
Yeah.
you're gonna hate it, and it's gonna be very difficult to continue that for a long period of time.
You're gonna get burnt out. You're not gonna believe in it, and so that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about this is I believed in you so much, as honestly, like, because we had worked together before when we started this, and I knew what you were capable of, and I'd seen you produce some awesome results, and I said, dude, if Koa says he can do this, I'm going to go whole heart in it. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. I said, I believe in it 100%. And so I think the first thing for me was just confidence in product and service. And then from there, your confidence builds off of that, and you can, I don't know, more opportunities arise. But the reason I brought the tattoos and being young is because they've had a lot of people ask me, I'm a part of a lot of entrepreneur groups.
Right.
And a lot of people have asked me, Morgan, do you feel like your tattoos get in the way of making sales? And I have never thought that. Right. I've never had that mindset where having these tattoos or,
Well, has it? Have you ever been in a situation?
No, I've never felt like weird about my tattoos. That being said, I know my audience. So say like if I am going to a more professional setting, I'll wear longer sleeves. Mm-hmm. But I make it a point mid-meeting to roll sleeves.
Just to show who you are.
Yeah, because like they have to know who they're proverbially getting in bed with. You know what I mean?
And it's that first couple minutes that really can kill a meeting, because if they all of a sudden, if they're super against that and they don't even open the door at all for you to speak at all. You know
if it's a really professional company ran by like 50-year-old white dudes, mm-hmm. Morgan's not walking in there and like cut off shorts and having my tattoos hang out, and I'm not walking in there like that. Like, I'll dress up. I generally dress up really nice when I go to sales meetings and stuff, but I think that's like kind of like the bedrock of where it all started. And then we can really get into what we've tried in the company and how that's, how that's changed.
I was gonna say, I think something that would be really cool is if we go through like our process from the first time we have an encounter with a potential client all the way to like, okay, on board.
Yeah. And it started, I just made a post on Facebook this morning, and
the where it's at versus
like how it started versus how it's going. And I put 2 pictures, and how it started was in the upstairs of my house. Working on laptops. And now we have like a full team, and I posted 2 photos. And so when it started, we've talked about this in previous podcasts.
Mm-hmm. We tested out.
We had a call center.
What was we literally hired a bunch of like high school kids, if not right out of high school. And we pretty much taught them like, hey, this is what social media marketing is. This is what Facebook ads is. Now I need you to call people and I need you to get them to send us some card info and let us sign them up as an
So
account.
we gave them lists of certain
And
verticals.
that alone was kind of a challenge too, or I shouldn't say challenge, expensive
It was expensive.
to get leads, and that was the first time I've been introduced to buying leads.
Yeah, so like we would choose a vertical, let's say the orthodontists, I don't know, doctors,
Transportation.
transportation. Yeah, we did transportation.
Yeah.
That was a train wreck vertical. Anyways, we would buy leads in a certain industry, and then we would give them to each of the call center. We had like 4 people in the call center, I want to say. Then it went down to 3.
I love how we call the call center. It was literally like
It's
the
4
kitchen.
of us, but
It was like the kitchen, though.
It was the kitchen.
The call center.
The call. I mean, that's what we called them. It was. We had desks put together in the dining room.
Oh yeah, it was the dining room. Not
There
the
was
kitchen.
no, like, it was not a dining room, but it was a dining room. And it was a call center. That's like where we put all our people. We gave them phones. We gave them computers.
I will say this: we went all out for that part. I thought the way we set up
sick.
a call center was so sick. It
was so sick.
It was like, hey, here's a laptop, here's an iPhone, and y'all.
Here's a list.
We got them all AirPods.
We got them AirPods, and we had to teach them not only what social media marketing was and what our services are, but then we had to take them through the training on the CRM, how to
What did we use? Pipedrive.
We used Pipedrive.
Yeah.
And so we used Pipedrive, how to keep all their contacts in a certain spot. There was
Move
so
them
much
through.
training that went into that I think we erred on our part thinking how fast it was going to be to like get up running to speed.
Yeah.
And so that's something to consider is like we hired a lot, like 4 people at one time, but then we had to train them all at the same time. And it took about a month.
More. I feel like sure they understood the basics, but
To
the
like
biggest
put them on
challenge,
their own.
and not only that, but to put them on their to put them on their own, and then have them be knowledgeable enough to know about what we do to then persuade somebody to set up an appointment. That's hard. That's super hard to do.
Yeah, because you were doing the fulfillment stuff even back then, and you were helping with the training with that. You were teaching
what we do,
and you were teaching like the nuts and bolts of the things, and then I would have to take them through like a call script and
being able to close
and like moving a lead from a prospect to a warm lead to close it, and then hand off to a fulfillment. So,
dude, and I think one huge part about that whole system was figuring out how that should all go, because when we originally had all the call center kids, we thought that they were just going to be able to close deals all the way through almost.
Oh yeah,
pretty much to the point where it's like, hey, you get off the phone call, we're going to send them a proposal so they could give us their card info.
Yeah, we thought
and
it was going to
never would happen. Like that never happened.
Yeah, so it's changed a lot. So we realized after 3 months, I'd say 2 going on 3.
Yeah.
We kind of realized that the model wasn't working.
The system behind it, the way that we were going about doing it was like everybody's getting told no, and we're not even like, it was such a hard close. It was like such a hard close to actually accomplish, just because we didn't bring anybody through a funnel. There was no funnel.
Yeah, and we got some really good leads from there that we ended up closing months later, which is cool. But the model wasn't working, and so we had to pivot. And then, long story short, we moved out of that house and we got our place here. And then we went from having a lot of people on the team to just me and you.
Yeah, we had to cut everybody.
We basically cut everything that was.
We got like
bleeding.
3 accounts out of that whole center.
Yeah, that whole call center, but they didn't close till like month 4 or 5, right? And so we got our office space here, and then it was just on me and you, and we completely believed in our model still, and we knew it would work. We made some changes with pricing, and
I was gonna ask you, what do you think the biggest change that we made?
It was 2
What was the
things.
most impactful?
Yeah, it was 2 things. It was our prices were pretty inflated when we started because they had to be to support what we were trying to accomplish with
To support
the manpower.
What was it? We had like 7 people.
Yeah, there's a lot of us, and so our prices were inflated. I mean, I think the value was there. Like, it wasn't like we were just overcharging people.
Yeah.
The value, what we were going to do, was definitely there. But what happened is we shaved off a lot of the stuff, the services that we were going to offer, and we said, what are we best at? And it was like Facebook ads, videography, and Google ads, right? And a little bit of websites here.
I was
and
gonna say,
there.
we really didn't even push websites at all.
We didn't push it at all because we didn't have a full-time web guy.
Yep.
And so we really focus on Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, and videography. Those were like, that was it.
That was it.
And we cut everything else. I mean, we were talking about doing some email marketing and like all sorts of stuff.
Everything.
And so we adjusted our prices. And then the second biggest thing was in-person meetings.
Yep.
And so what really changed our agency was my ability to go meet and like get FaceTime with other business owners.
Yes.
And that's how it started.
Huge.
And from there, you know, in sales, I'll say this, I'll say a little caveat. In sales, there's basically two types of sales guys. There is the closer, what I like to call them, the person that is just closing sales left and right. Maybe you're walking through a mall and you see the guys at the kiosk and they're like, hey, try this on. Ma'am, come here.
Have you ever had your hair straightened like this?
That's the closer. That's the closer. And then you have other people that are like relational sales. It's a longer relationship that you're building to get someone on.
And that's exactly what this is.
Well, you need both. So the trick is you have to have both. And that's where my kind of style of sales come in. If I was just relational and, you know, and I made these relationship sales and they took 3 months to happen or 4 months to happen, we would never get paid.
You're right. I see what you're saying.
You
where
know
it's
what I
one of
mean?
those things where
you need to have a happy balance.
Right.
Because there's sometimes like I need closers. I need a person to come in and close deals, like sign the checks, send the proposals, get them to say yes. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's a relationship that you have to build with these business owners to really help them understand what they're signing up for, what they're doing, what does it look like, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And so you have to have a really good balance of both. And so, you know, for people listening to this, ask yourself, am I a closer just trying to get that buck and being super pushy? Or am I having actually a relationship with them, but maybe those relationships are going way too long and it's been 6 months and you still don't have a PO from them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's when you need to have your closer kind of come in here and push the envelope forward.
So it's a really happy balance. Yeah, one of my really good friends, I completely agree with him, Dalton. Mm-hmm. Dalton Jensen with the Thinking Project. He said something about a month ago or 2 months ago to me. He said, man, if you don't feel like you're being pushy as a sales guy, then you're doing it wrong. And I was like, I completely agree. So you have to have an urgency to bug people. Like I send emails all the time or texts, just touching base with people where newer sales guys or newer salespeople will feel like, oh, well, I just text them on Monday. I'm like, bitch, it's Friday. Yeah. Like you haven't heard anything from them?
In 5 days?
In 5 days, like, come on, man. Like, reach out to them.
They're not going to reach out to you. If they haven't reached out to you in that time period, then it's like, okay, now you need to take initiative to make sure you're still top of mind.
Yeah. So what really worked with us, like, I know that there's a lot of companies out there that rely a lot on Facebook ads themselves. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people that rely on SEO and just organic traffic. Mm-hmm. Where we buckled down was Morgan in-person networking.
Right.
And then
I feel like it got our point across better than any of those other platforms.
Well,
and you got, like I said, I think the FaceTime was extremely important.
I think one of the coolest things with us is when I've talked to other agencies where they're doing just like organic leads coming in or, you know, running Facebook ads. And I would bet money on this, just from talking to other agency owners, that the life cycle of their clients is way shorter than the life cycle of our clients. Mm-hmm. And so I've heard story after story where, you know, there's agencies out there that will just run Facebook ads or just SEO and they'll get a client in and they'll stay with them a month or two and then they quit. You know, we've had clients for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
You know,
going on 3 years.
Yeah. Our oldest client's going on 3 years with us.
Sick.
You know, but that's the case with many of our clients. Mm-hmm. They stay with us.
I will totally agree with that. I feel like we have a really good lifetime.
Yeah, the life cycle of a client. And so that's really important too. And so that's one of the reasons that I love this in-person sales, because I think not only is it a stronger yes when you get a yes to work with them, but they stay longer.
For sure.
You know, you have such a strong relationship with them that, you know, let's say for whatever reason we didn't respond to a text or, you know, which we always do, but just hypothetically saying, I rather than them being inclined just to say, well, screw this company, I'm leaving to the next. We have like really loyal clients.
Yes.
And I like that.
And I feel like that whole idea bleeds into the fulfillment side, where it's very communicative and we are very in the loop, and, you know, are proactive about reaching out to our accounts.
Exactly.
And it feels rather than being a one-off that you're hired somebody to do something super quick, super automated, like you were saying with the, people just doing Facebook ads, getting onboarded all the way automatically, and then don't even get to talk to a real person until they've actually put their card in and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like that versus what we do, we feel like we're a teammate. We're part of the team. We're literally just an extension of your immediate team.
And that's what we, like, personally, I have tried to beat that in our heads.
Core values.
Yeah, as our core value, as they're not just hiring like a third party. They're not just hiring like an outsourced marketing team. They're hiring like a marketing team that's a part of them. Like, we are a team with them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just doing work for them. Like, we care about what we're doing as their team.
Right.
And that's helped a ton as well. But we can break down the sales a little bit more. I don't even mind getting into it.
Well, I was gonna say, I would love to say I think a lot of the stuff that we've talked about is your initially getting a potential client kind of into the conversation of what we're doing. So let's say after you have that initial, do you send out a proposal immediately?
No, so
do you set up multiple meetings? How does that look?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, it's very different, but the same at the same time. I'll explain that. So when I first meet somebody that's a business owner, let's say, one of the biggest things is I just start talking. I'm a super social guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm very talkative, and whether that's good or bad, but I'm just a social guy. I like just talking with people. One of the things that I always teach my sales guys is you have to have a transitionary question, basically. And so rather than talking about like, how's the weather and how's things going, one of my transitionary questions that I always ask every single person that I've ever worked with, or every one of our clients, I say, so how do you guys get customers? How do you guys get leads?
So that's like your question to move from like general meet and greet to business a little bit.
And I mean, we can talk about business, like, oh yeah.
And that's a kind of an open question too. It's like a very so how much are you guys willing to pay on ads? How much are you guys willing to pay us? That would be a hard question. Asking how you guys get clients is kind of a lighter question, but also in the realm of what we actually offer and what you're there for.
And there's lots of different ways to ask that too. Like, sometimes I'll say where, how do you guys get your leads, or what have you seen has been the best way to get people to know about you? Is it like Facebook or what? And they're like, and they'll just tell you.
Or like, what sets you guys apart? What sets you guys apart from your competition?
Yeah, like, not even that. It's just like, okay, for example, I think I got like, say the conversation. So I'll be talking to a business owner and they know I'm a business owner and blah, blah, blah. And then we'll be like, yeah, so how's business going? Like, that's the normal conversation. Like, how's business? Oh, it's great. Living the dream. Yeah, okay. That's like the standard. Everyone says that shit, okay? After that, I can ask about, oh, where's your location? How long have you been in business? All the normal stuff. And then I can bring up, well, how do you guys get clients? What's your source of lead gen? Like, where do you guys get your clients from? And that is the perfect opportunity to really see how I can steer the conversation. And so one of my core beliefs as a human in sales is the first time I meet with someone and we talk about marketing, I'll give them the farm. I'll tell them everything they want to know. I literally will try to provide so much value to them that after that conversation, they're like, God damn, dude, like, I need to work with Morgan.
Right. So you kind of come in there, even whether they work with you or not, you want them to leave the conversation knowing more about their situation in the digital world than they had before you went in.
Yeah, and I'll even take it one step further where, say we're at a luncheon, at a networking meeting, and I start talking to someone and they're like, yeah, like Facebook doesn't I don't really see any leads from Facebook. I'll say, I'll follow your page. But what I'm really doing is pulling up their Facebook page and really scanning it really quick to look at their banner,
do
their
like
logo.
A quick 5-second audit.
And then I give them so much value to say, okay, your banner needs to be this, your logo's effed up, you're not posting consistently. And I can kind of look at it even when I follow them and like their page on Facebook. But that's that type of value I'm bringing. And I leave them a list of things that they can do today that would make their social presence better. And so
you hit them with this value, and it's so valuable that they're like, man, I need to work with this guy.
And that goes both ways. I mean, there's been many times I've been talking to someone, and they don't have a Facebook. And so I say, okay, cool, what's your website? They'll give me their website. I write it down. I put it in our Discord. and say,
And then-
I need an audit
Yep,
of this.
I see these all day.
And I go to their website and I start looking at it, and hopefully by the end of that conversation, say I'm at lunch or whatever, the fulfillment team, our web guys, you, whoever, have given me an audit back on their website, and I say, hey, by the way, I had my guys do this audit, and I just give it to them.
That's sick. That's a cool flex, honestly.
And so I think the biggest part of what I'm trying to do is trying to really help them, like legitimately helping them. Genuinely just being like, this is what you can do better, and this is our suggestions, right? From there, you're giving value out, and you're kind of taking the authoritative, I'm the expert at this. One of my favorite books on sales is Jordan Belfort, the Real Wolf of Wall Street.
Yep.
I love Jordan Belfort for sales. I don't really care about his morals, I'll say that, but for sales, he's awesome. And in that book, one of the things that really stood out to me was you have to be the professional. You can't
fake it, even if you have to fake it.
Well, no, what he says is that you can only, so he actually describes that so good. He goes, there's people that will fake it and they can get so far with faking it, but there has to be a point where the real ones step up and actually become the expert.
Yeah.
And I love that. And so when, what he teaches is, when you're talking with a client, a potential lead, a client, that you have to be the absolute expert in your field. And just by doing that alone kind of changed the conversion rate that I was getting talking to people, and just really taking the stance of, this is what you do. Not, I'll take it one step further of saying, this isn't my suggestion to, hey, this is what you need to do to get better results. Rather than, oh, you can if you want. I'm like, no, this is what you do.
Yes.
And so I kind of changed my language.
It shows confidence, Again, you're the expert, and I feel like confidence absolutely sells.
The last thing I do when I talk to someone, and this is a must, I never give out my business card unless someone asks for it. So if I'm talking to a potential
I was gonna say, what's your idea? What's your why? What's the reason?
I usually don't even carry business cards, but I never ever hand out business cards. If I meet someone, I'm like, oh, here's my business card. You're basically handing them a piece of garbage to throw in the trash can. They didn't ask for it. They don't want it. They're gonna put it in their pocket, forget about it. They don't even care. If someone specifically asks for it and says, oh man, can I get your contact info? That's the people that you give it to. Right. If I don't have business cards, what I do leaving one of those conversations is I always get a piece of contact information, whether it's a cell phone number or an email. From there, now let's say I get back to the office, I will write up everything that we just discussed and all the things that I just suggested or told them to do, and just say, hey, nice meeting you today. This is what,
here's like a quick little recap of what we talked about.
Here's
that's
a little,
valuable.
Exactly. Send
that's
that off.
Value.
Depending on their response, then all I do is schedule a meeting to be able to send a proposal.
Gotcha. Okay, and that's what I wanted to say. So you've gone all the way through. You've met them the first time. You've built this relationship. You've hit them with a bunch of value. They find out you're interested. I'm assuming there's probably a couple maybe emails back and forth, or is it straight to the proposal? Like,
dude, honestly,
I bet the biggest thing I want to know is, when is the point where you send that proposal?
When I know what they need. And what I mean by that, so say like I did all those things, and say like we did a website audit and a Facebook cleanup, and then I send that off to them. At the end of my email that I send off to them, I typically do say something like, hey, and if you want to know more about what we do at Monarch, let's schedule a call.
Let me know, reach out to me.
Yeah, or if you have a question, let me ask. From that, we get a meeting usually, whether it's a phone call or a coffee date, if you will. And in that meeting, I really dig down to
specifics,
like really specifics of like, hey, like, what are you looking for? Yeah. Like, how can we best serve you?
Right.
And it will come up in there from that meeting.
And it's kind of, to add to that portion of it, that's where you do these slideshows, the pitch decks, right?
Yeah. So on bigger companies,
because I think that's a big one.
No, that's not yet. No, because that pitch deck is okay. I'll get to that, but no, not that point yet. Okay. This point is really just figuring out the specifics, because I don't know what to pitch them.
You don't even know what to put in the pitch deck.
I don't know what to put in the pitch deck, the slideshow, if I don't know what they need.
Right.
So in that meeting, say we go to lunch, say we have a phone call, they will literally tell me, and this is where sales tactics come in, and listening skills and communication skills of getting to their pain point, what's not working for them. Like, I can't sell people that don't have problems. I'll be the first one to tell you that. Like, if someone doesn't have any problems or issues, like, I can't sell them. I can't help them.
Right.
So like, if they're having a great website and they're posting on Facebook and they're running ads, you know, there's not a lot of times that I'm going to push that sell, because like, they don't have a pain point. So anyways, in that meeting, that first meeting, I dig down to the core of what their pain point is. From there, I always say, hey, want to know what we talked about today? And you know, obviously I go through our services and what we offer.
Better explain what we do.
I better explain and how we can help. And
because you're saying you're going from a quick interaction to now this is like a focus meeting,
it's
like a one-on-one meeting. Yes. Okay.
Exactly. And so from that meeting, I'll immediately go back to the office or my house or wherever, grab my laptop and put it in a proposal.
You pretty much whip up a little recipe for their situation.
I don't even tell them sometimes that it's a proposal. All I say is, hey, I'm going to put what we talked about today in an email for you, and I'll send it to you.
Right.
And that email is a proposal. It's a formal, and we use Newsy for those listening.
Yeah, it's really, really good proposal software.
Our proposal software is Newsy. We love it. We've used it since day one. It's awesome. We accept payments through there, all sorts of stuff. So Newsy, shout out
Newsy.
Not sponsored.
Yeah. Wish we were.
Wish we were. No, it's not expensive at all. It's actually really affordable. So I put it in that proposal. What typically happens is from that proposal, they'll tell me the questions that they have, and they'll be like, oh, well, what about this or that? The coolest thing with the proposal, if they like it, they can click accept now,
right away,
sign, and pay.
Right.
And so that's that. For bigger companies, now this is where the pitch decks come in. For large products, I do not send a proposal until I put a pitch deck together.
Gotcha. Okay, so wait, let's just clarify. So a smaller company, you have your one-on-one, and then when you come back, you pick and pull all of our services to fit their needs, because you just found all their pinpoints.
Yep.
And then you send off that proposal so they can see what it is, and that gives them the opportunity to either accept it, or they can come back and we revise it, right?
Revise it.
And then send it again. Now with a bigger account,
account, you can't just do that typically. You can't just be like,
when somebody's going to pay $10,000 right up here, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, we just, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but we just closed like a $14,000 contract.
Yes.
You know, a few months ago. But with that one, for example, I can't just go and send them a proposal after meeting with them once.
Like, yeah, here's 14 grand.
So,
I wish that's how it was.
I know. So for those listening, if you're trying to get into bigger sales, just know there's more meetings that happen than just one. With smaller companies, mom and pop shops that just need a website or just need posting or whatever it is, usually you can have one meeting with them, send them a proposal, and they're like, yeah, I'm on board, let's go. With bigger companies, I come back, I open up our good old Google Slides.
Yeah, Google Slides. Tried and trusted.
Tried and true. And I make them a whole pitch deck that might be 10 pages long. And what that does, it breaks down exactly what they need into a timeline and the specifics of it.
Yeah, I think that the slide deck takes what the proposal has, the same information that's on there, but puts it into like extra fine detail.
I think our proposals usually are typically like 4 pages long, because it has like an about us section, what we do, what they get, terms, and you know, whatever,
all the legal stuff,
all legal stuff in there too. But with the bigger companies, they're typically around 10 pages, and it's just the proposal in a what's it called?
Expanded version of the
PowerPoint presentation.
Which I love that we do that. I think that's a cool thing, because it's like more interactive, and it's just, I feel like it's that extra step that just makes you feel like a bigger company. You know what I mean?
I've never, I can't say never, because I've done it to clients out of state, but I like presenting the pitch deck. Yeah. I don't like just sending the pitch deck.
And doing it in person or on Zoom?
Exactly. And the reason why is because, let's say that they have a really complicated Facebook project with multiple accounts and whatever. You remember what I'm talking about. Yeah. I like to schedule another meeting to bring my specialists. So I'll either bring you if it's for Facebook or for videos. I bring, Brandon if it's for like websites. I've brought other people for posting.
Tobes, all of them. Yeah.
And so I bring my specialists to that meeting. And so I'll get back to the office and say, hey, nice meeting today. What I would love to do is schedule another meeting with you to kind of show you in depth of what we can do.
Yes.
We schedule a meeting. I bring, the key players, the Avengers.
Bring the A-team.
I bring the A-team, and I go pitch. And you've seen me do those many times. You've been in a lot of those.
A lot of those.
And that's when I really present. And I walk them through it, because that one is where we're showing them the way, and we're literally being the experts again, and saying, this is the next 3, 4, 5 months, what it's going to look like. This is what we're doing every step of the way. Whatever. From that meeting, there's tons of revisions. Okay,
yes, that's like a big discovery meeting.
You're gonna get everything from, okay, well, if it starts on this date, then it needs to go to this date, and this is the budget, and this is this, and this is that. You start working through those specifics. So I've had those bigger clients, maybe 2 or 3 emails back and forth until I send a proposal, and I've had clients that it's been 2 or 3 months worth of emails.
I was going to say months before we really get that thing fine-tuned to the point where both sides are happy.
But those are bigger clients. For those listening, big money moves slow.
Yep.
Like, I'll say that. Big money moves slow. You have to understand that. There's not a lot of times you'll go meet with a bigger company and you'll pitch them their idea, your idea or your service or your product, and they're like, oh, yep, where's the checkbook? Let's cut a check.
Yeah.
No, like, you're going to have to put a pitch deck together. You're going to have to send them a proposal. A lot of these people won't even pay through the proposal until they have a purchase order. So then you have to send them until they have an invoice. You send them an invoice. They cut a purchase order. Okay, and then it's all, it goes from there. So with the bigger clients, it's way more. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 emails until we get the specifics worked out, and I send the proposal and they accept it. And then with other people, it's been
quick.
A long time.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense, because with those bigger accounts, obviously it's way more valuable. And so you have to put in a little bit more groundwork to get those guys to close.
There's a lot more work that goes into bigger clients, I feel. I mean, we've had...
My question for you would be, is it worth it, that groundwork?
Yeah, and this is what I was going to say. It's been heartbreaking sometimes. I posted about this in a entrepreneur group that I'm a part of. Shout out Connect Utah. I love Connect Utah. But I posted this in there probably about a year ago. 6 months ago. I posted this 6 months ago. It can be very disheartening when you're working with a potential client for like 2 months, 3 months, getting the specifics, meeting people, going to meetings and making a pitch deck just for them to tell you no.
Yeah.
And you have to know at what point
is enough.
It's just not moving forward, and you have to say, this is what we can do. Let us know if you have questions. We're going to be here regardless. Let us know how we can help.
Right.
I mean, there's been a few that you have to learn. You have to kind of get through, of just prolonged. You're just giving so much value out, and they're just on the fence. They're not saying yes. They're not saying no. And it's a maybe. And so you keep, working with them and keep sending emails and keep revising stuff, and you keep meeting with them. And there has to be a point when you just say, like,
on to the next.
Yeah, like, shit or get off the pot.
Yes.
Like, you have to.
Yeah.
And so now I'm good at that.
I honestly feel like we're at a point where we've done that hard work to get to this point where it's like, hey, if somebody doesn't want to sign up with us, we're not going to try to force them to work with us.
When it was just me and you,
we were out there doing that. We were trying to do anything we could, because we were just us.
Dude, we had to get sales in, like, sales cure all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mark Cuban said that.
Bloodline.
I remember Mark Cuban said that to me in my last company, or to us, I should say, emailed it to us, sales cures all. And it does. Like, you have sales coming in, you don't have all the other issues are much easier to handle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But with that, at the beginning of our company, I would do anything for a sale. I'd be like, up 3 hours working on something. Next day, I'm going to meet with them. I'm going to take them to lunch. I'm going to do this, going to do that, going to do this. Now we're in a position where I'm not desperate for a sell. And honestly, to be completely honest, we're very picky who we work with now.
Yes, very true, very true.
Like, we've had our fair share of, like, crappy clients.
Accounts that we just don't want anything
Just
to do with,
headaches.
but we have to do it because that's cash flow.
And so, well, yeah, we've had headache clients before. I think every company does. But for that reason, we're pretty picky on what type of industry we'll work with. And if we jive with that person or not. There's been people
where we're like, oh
where-
man, this person is like the most difficult person to even get in contact, and we're not even working with them yet. And how bad is it going to be when we're actually like deep into this?
I don't know if you remember this, right around the time of our event, there was someone that was really interested in working with us.
Yeah.
And I should have told them no. I was like,
oh yes, I do know who you're talking about. Yes.
And I was like,
where it's like, guess what,
this
man?
isn't gonna be.
I can give you some resources, but
I said I can point you in the right direction to someone else. I said I just don't think we're gonna be a great fit. And the reason why is because like we just didn't jive. Like I would much rather have like a really good relationship with our clients than like having someone that I want to tiptoe around and like I don't know. It just seemed like a bad thing. So we're actually pretty picky with ourselves, and I actually recommend that. Like you'll save yourself so much headaches, and if you don't drive with someone, like don't do it.
I will also say this: when you're starting out, you have to kind of do what you have to do.
Oh, of course. Like even then, man, I don't know if it's worth it. Sales is a numbers game. Like you have to understand that sales is a numbers game. You have to figure out how many people you have to talk to before someone says yes. And once you understand that number, you'll understand how to scale your business and what to expect, okay? You have to get, this is all the cliche shit that is just completely real. You have to get through the no's to get to the yeses. And it's a numbers game. It's literally statistics. If you're talking to 100 people and no one's signing up, you suck at sales, okay? Right. I'll say that. You need to know your percentage of close rate. Like if I talk to X amount of people, how many people sign up with me, right? So anyways, that's kind of our process.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just to kind of recap, it goes from initial interaction to setting up a kind of a one-on-one meeting. With bigger accounts, there's a little bit more groundwork that goes into it before you send off a proposal, but both of those one-on-one meetings ultimately end with sending off a proposal. And then as soon as that client either asks for revisions on the proposal or accepts proposal, then we send our onboarding email that has intake form, everything, shared drives, all of that.
Yep, little tips and tricks. If you're working with bigger accounts, we don't use a payment processor. So like basically for us, what we mean by that is when I send the bigger proposals through Nusi, I don't allow them to pay through it.
Oh yeah, that's a pro tip, because what was it? Anything over like $5,000, then because at $5,000 you end up losing like $100.
I don't even like that. I said for me it's $2,500. So anything below $2,500, I'll take through a payment processor. That's fine. Like I don't really care. Anything over $2,500, like I like to pick up a check or I don't.
And obviously it depends if you're working with somebody. Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest reason you avoid that is because you're literally giving money to Stripe.
Yeah,
but if you're in another state, like obviously it's not like
have them mail it. We have customers.
Oh my God, you're right.
What are you talking about?
Right. We just barely had one come in. Yeah,
we just had checks come in from another state.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, I mean,
so that's smart.
Yeah, so have them mail a check and wait for it and just get it deposited. But anyways, so this is what I would say to kind of really sum it up is. The first contact, if you're having problem getting sales, the first contact, give them as much value as you can. Genuinely care about that client's business and what they're doing. Give them real expert feedback on how you can help them. Get a piece of contact information so you can send a follow-up email to say, hey, if you want to go into more detail, I would love to show you what we can do. From that meeting, get to their pain points. Understand where they're failing and what they need help on. Okay? From there, you send a proposal. If it's a bigger company, put a pitch deck together. Set another meeting. Revise, send a proposal. They accept, hand it off to fulfillment.
And we on board.
Now, that being said, that's probably our main way of how we get sales right now. But we do have people that submit their information through online now. Like our website gets leads. We have people message Facebook. We have people that message Instagram. And obviously we get referrals from our current clients. So
you're right. That's a big one too.
Yeah, that's a really big one is that we do get referred a lot, right? People find us on Google a lot. They call our phone number from Google. But I would say our bread and butter is relational sales. I love being in person. I love meeting people and really getting to know them as a person. And so I would say that's what we focus on. I focus on the relationship, but I also teach my guys that you have to know how to close a deal or you're just going to have a friend,
Right.
And, as much as I say we're in this for charity and we just want to help people all the time, like, hey, we have
This
a
is
business.
a business.
We have a business.
This is a business,
and
sir.
that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong about that. So. Yeah. But yeah, that's the sales process. That's the sales process of Morgan. I hope that helps someone.
Yeah, man.
That's literally to a T what we do.
What we do, and I think that it was very beneficial, especially because, like I said, we have had people ask, "How do you guys get sales? How do you guys flow?" I mean, there's so many people that, oh, I'm good at Photoshop, I'm good at videos, and I can do Facebook ads. Let me try to make a company. Don't know anything about sales.
Yeah, man, that opens up a whole nother conversation. I don't think we have time for it today. But there's really creative ways out there how you can get sales. Some of them are doing some free work at first just to get your foot in the door. You know, making a promo video for someone saying, hey, I made this for you, or creating a really small landing page website for someone that doesn't have one. And just giving back in that way.
Kind of getting your foot in the door.
Get your foot in the door somehow. Or just saying, hey, I'll post for you for a week if you like it. You know, we'll go from there.
You're right. I think there's a lot of things. This was good. I'm glad we talked about sales. It's kind of a last minute thing to decide to talk about.
Well, we talked about it yesterday, and we're trying to decide. We have some different subjects that we want to talk about, but this is one that kept coming up was, how do you guys get clients? And so what I would say is there's tons of networking groups out there. Get on Facebook, join some networking groups, and go talk to people and figure out how they suck. You know, what they're failing at. I shouldn't say suck. What they're doing poor at.
Yeah.
But go figure out what they need help with. And then if your service or product fits that, let them know.
Yeah.
So
sick, dude. Well, hey, like I said, I feel like I learned some stuff because, again, I don't really do any sales. But I'm glad to have you doing sales, man.
Till the end, brother.
Sick. Okay, so podcast. Should we end this thing?
Yeah, you got to ask me where they can find us because I'm doing your part.
Are we flipping it still?
Yeah, we're flipped.
All right, Morgan. So this was a great episode. Now let the viewers at home know where they can catch this.
Oh, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and all your major social platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Monarch Social or Monarch Social Brand. Also, catch us on our website, www.monarchsocialbrand.com. It has all of these podcasts there and our services that we offer.
Man, you did such a good job.
When do we drop our episodes?
Oh, that's my part now. Don't forget, guys, new episodes drop every single Tuesday. All right?
Yep, every Tuesday, new episodes.
Okay.
Till next time.
See you guys.